right, welcome back to another episode of Bet GPT. Today, this is the Big 50, episode 50. We made it, Slade. We made it.
Are you going to inform our listeners on our special announcement?
Yeah, so we teased this at the end of the last episode, for those of you who listened. And
my phone's been blowing up the last week, so...
Yeah, so we wanted to officially announce that we are now live with an Etsy shop with our merch. So we will go ahead and tweet that out tonight when we post the show. And essentially, if you're looking for some Bet GPT gear, lucky you, because we have plenty of things to pick from. We have a couple T-shirts, we have a mug, we have a hat, a hoodie, and then some of our more obscure items. We have a blanket and some swim trunks to get you ready for summer. So if there's any other things people would like to request be put in the shop, let me know. It is like 50 cents for me to publish these, so I didn't want to post 100 different things, but we do have a few things listed here. And obviously if we can, start selling some merch, the more things we can post out there. So Slade, can you get it? Can you give us an official review of the shirt you got?
The shirts are good quality. I think they're Gildion or something like that is the brand. They are heavy cotton. Probably not a workout shirt, but they are nice quality. I'm sure they'll shrink when I put it in the wash. I ordered a mug. It is MIA. If it got stolen, which I don't know for sure, I hope that person is enjoying a Bet GPT mug, and maybe it's getting us a listener. But no, I gotta check an extra mailbox apparently for a package. But fingers crossed it's in there.
More to come on that. But yeah, so essentially everything, I have it really hands off. It's set up through the Etsy shop, and then this other website called Printful actually prints the shirts, packages them up. I couldn't say that, and then sends them out. So really, there's like no profit on our end at all. I just wanted it as hands off as possible, just to make it possible for everyone to get their hands on the merch. So with that being said, we have been teasing this for a while too, is we have our Pete Crow Armstrong hit giveaway. So what is he, 0 for 18 to start his career?
18, 19, something like that.
Yeah. So we are just a few weeks away from baseball season. I think, Slade, we still have to decide, but maybe it'll be like if you favorite one of our tweets, or like a pin tweet, then you'd be entered in, and we could do like a spin or something on like an online simulator, and that's who gets a shirt. So something like that.
It could be a few months though. With I think you might start in AAA. So
that's true.
Maybe this summer. Maybe we're teasing it too early.
That's true.
I could go to AAA and like pull a hamstring, and it'll be 2025.
That'd be hilarious. But yeah. So yeah, merch is live. Check out our Twitter. Feel free to grab something and let us know. Send us some pics on Twitter. But okay. Yeah, so that was the episode 50 reveal. We're ready to get into the sports betting content now. I kind of just wanted to talk a little bit about college basketball again. We're approaching conference tournament week. I guess it just kind of started with the smaller conference tournaments. Then we have our bigger ones upcoming next week. I know today Pepperdine absolutely destroyed Pacific for any of you betting on the West Coast Conference. If anybody heard me on the 3 Points pod, I made an appearance last week. That's Nicholas Bear's podcast, one of our recurring guests. And I gave out St. Mary's to win that. I said that was before the odds got posted. St. Mary's was, I assumed they'd be around plus 200, and I was totally wrong. They were at minus 110 or like plus 100 even money, and Gonzaga was minus 110. Do you have any leans either way for that conference, Slate, or is that kind of just stay away from that?
I don't stay up late enough to watch. So if I gave you something, it would be based off of like secondhand info. I'm not a whack watcher.
Yeah. I don't think it's the WAC. I think it's the WCC, but yeah.
Oh, well,
I like the WAC. I could be wrong. I don't. Who is even in the WAC conference?
I don't know. I always thought it was like West Coast, smaller California teams.
Western Athletic Conference, Cal Baptist, Grand Canyon. That has a bunch of Texas teams. Yeah, we're talking West Coast Conference. But
Okay. Still,
anyway, yeah.
doesn't change my
So
answer.
yeah, Gonzaga and St. Mary's. Those two are heavy favorites. I lean St. Mary's, but the number's not good enough for me, so I'm not going that way. Big Ten tournament, unfortunately, is not out yet. So I don't know. These smaller tournaments, I think it's more fun just to maybe wait until the championship game and bet on that. Maybe take an underdog in the championship game just because crazy things happen in March. Or is there any specific tournament you're looking at, or do you just want to talk about the landscape as a whole right now?
Um, I think the Big East is the most interesting one in terms of like entertainment value. You've got three ranked teams, and then you've got Rick Pitino kind of fighting for his. He's on the bubble. I think he's eight. They're 18-12, St. John's. So he's done a great job kind of turning them around. Obviously, Villanova isn't what they used to be, but um, I think that'll be at least entertaining. UConn is minus 150 to win it, plus 350 for Creighton. I know you've maybe sprinkled a little bit on Creighton there, and then Marquette is plus 600. I know they're number 8 in the country, but they did just lose to UConn earlier this week, and then their best player is going to be out for this game for the Big East tournament. So I'd probably stay away from Marquette there. I think the odds honestly are pretty fair because it does feel like it's going to come down to UConn and Creighton, and then it's like who do you think's going to win? And UConn at minus 150 is probably pretty close to what you get for them in like the Big East title game.
Yeah, I'd say if you're betting Creighton here at plus 350, like which is where I'm leaning, and I did play a little bit of it, that's just me saying I have Creighton plus 350 money line in
Hmm.
the finals. That's what I think. Just because Marquette, like you mentioned, a couple of their top guys are out for the remainder of the regular season and conference tournament. That being said, I do think Marquette is a bet on in the tournament, assuming everyone is healthy. I definitely think they can make a deep run. But just for right now, I don't think they really care. There's not a lot of motivation. And that's kind of why I want to fade Connecticut in this tournament because, like, they already have a one seed locked up. They're coming off a national title. They could be like the Iowa Hawkeyes of a couple of years ago, win the tournament and then, or win the
Hmm.
conference tournament and then not do anything in March Madness. Then it's like, well, who cares? Like, our season was not a success. So,
Right.
that's why I think Creighton, they're still fighting. They could be on that 2-3 seed line. They definitely have some motivation to win this tournament.
Yeah, I think Charlie Rose made a good comment, and when you were on the 3 points pod, he said something about like Bobby Hurley or whatever his name is just a complete lunatic. So he might treat this like it's the Super Bowl still, but that's a good point. St. John's, um, I've always wanted them in like DePaul and some of those schools that are like in big cities but are kind of under the radar. I've always wanted rooted for them a little bit to like be good. Georgetown and DC, so I've always had like an affinity for those smaller teams. But I think St. John's is a little bit of a poser. They did beat Creighton though a couple weeks ago, but they're hot right now. I don't really buy into them necessarily as like a real threat to win this tournament, even though they're probably I think they're fourth or fifth best odds.
Yeah, yeah,
I
I
hope they
agree.
make the NCAA tournament. I don't. I'd be really surprised if they. I mean, they're 0-2, I think, against UConn with like 13-point losses and stuff. So
Yeah, I think they're going to get in, but we can kind of talk about it here. So everyone's favorite bracketologist, Joe Lenardi, he had a post from what time is this today at 12:37 p.m. So March 7th, 12:37 p.m. His last four in are Villanova, New Mexico, St. John's, and Virginia. And his first four out: Providence, Utah, Colorado, and Iowa. So Iowa is the fourth out right now. Iowa plays Illinois this Sunday at home, sold out Carver Hawkeye Arena. Um, I think it's a win in your in scenario. Personally, I think it's going to be close though. They could still be playing in Dayton, in one of those kind of playing games. But I guess what's your take on the
what
situation
if they
right
win
now?
that and then they lose their first Big Ten tournament game?
Well, I think it depends. So,
Yeah, I guess it depends who they'd play, and if they got the 4 seed, they'd be playing a better team in their first game because they get the bye, right?
yeah, so I tweeted this out yesterday, and I said, "Will Iowa hoops secure a 1 seed?" I meant a first round bye, so they would secure the number 4 overall seed. So that simulator we talked about, where you can plug in all the scores and it spits out a bracket. Essentially, this is not even like asking for any upsets other than Minnesota beating Northwestern in Minnesota. If that happens and Iowa beats Illinois, um, essentially that's pretty much all you need. If that happens, then the Big Ten bracket shakes out with Iowa being the 4 seed in the same pod as the winner of Wisconsin versus Rutgers Indiana winner. So Iowa could be looking at Wisconsin in the first game. If they lose to Wisconsin and it's a close game, I don't think you can
I
punish
agree.
them for that. However, if they lose at Illinois and then they're stuck in like the 7 seed and they're going up against Penn State, you have to win that, and then you're
Mhm.
probably going to play Illinois or Nebraska after
You
that,
have
and
to
I
win
think you
that
have to
too.
win that too. So, um, I think you just need to win this Sunday and hope for the best. Personally,
I agree with you there. Iowa fans should probably be rooting for Creighton this weekend. They actually play Villanova on Saturday. So if and that's Villanova's only game left in their regular season or their season. So uh, if Villanova is one of the last 4 in, obviously a loss would definitely help Iowa kind of jump them. They're 17-13, so they'd be 17-14 if they lost this.
wow, yeah, um,
I know the Big
yeah,
Ten's down this year, but it does feel a little odd that we're talking about like a potential 4 seed in the Big Ten as if they're like on the outside looking in potentially with a loss in the tournament.
I know for whatever reason the net rankings just hate Iowa.
They'd be
Um,
19-12 with a win against Illinois. 19 wins is a bubbly number, but you still have double digit conference wins in the Big Ten conference. I think that's still something to be. I think that's something that still puts you in the top 68 personally.
yeah, no, I totally agree, and I would just had a couple tough losses against Minnesota and Michigan and Maryland. You win 2 of those games, at least one of those games, you're probably in. But they didn't, so they're gonna have to. We're gonna have to sweat it out on Sunday. But
And
at
this
least we
is
get at least we get a meaningful game.
and this is
So
coming from two guys who were pretty much out on the season. Like
yeah,
at the end of 2023, I remember when they lost to Michigan, who I knew was bad. I was like, oh, okay.
yeah,
I thought it was basically a wasted season. If Frank can get this team to the tournament, that would be maybe one of his better coaching jobs because this team is not super talented. There's no Naismith Player of the Year candidate. It would be comedy if this is the team that somehow made it to the Sweet 16. Obviously, I know that's a very long shot, but if all Fran's teams, the Luka Garzas, the Keegan Murrays, this team is the one that gets to the Sweet 16 because the bracket falls right and they get lucky or something, that would be pretty funny.
yeah. It's gonna be really funny to see how reporters spin that. Like, there's just too much star power in those old teams. Like, this was real teamwork, and everyone banded together to make a run. It's gonna be something
Yeah,
like that.
Fran's excellent in-state recruiting got the job done.
Yeah, so we'll yeah, look forward to Sunday's game. Hopefully they can pull off a win. I did watch Illinois' last game. They played Tuesday, March 5th at home against Purdue. And I woke up Tuesday morning and I was looking through basketball lines and I saw Purdue was a 2.5 point underdog at Illinois. So when you see a line like that and it's a little fishy, it's probably best, to pick the line that doesn't make sense or the side that doesn't make sense because Vegas has like that for a reason. I decided against it and I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, if Purdue is that good of a team, they're a 1 seed, they're going to win the Big Ten, they'll probably win the Big Ten tournament. I need to bet them. So I put $100 on Purdue money line at plus 120. And I'm watching that game and Purdue ended up winning 77-71, so I cashed my bet, but they won the second half 43-31. So they were down at half by 6, ended up coming back at the end. They hit a couple big threes, got some lucky bounces, and I don't know if you caught that game, but they definitely did not deserve to win.
Moral of the story: gambling is good. And that leads
Yeah,
me to my next subject. I have been off. I have not gambled for like 2 months. Very little. I've pulled some strings here and there, but I've basically been off the grid. Legal gambling in North Carolina begins March 11th, so Monday. Um, I'm too much of a degenerate to not go and get all of these promo dollars that are out there.
all the free play,
I
baby.
might have 20 bucks come March 11th because if they're all going to give me 20 bucks or $200 in free play or these
Yeah.
sign up bonuses, free whatever, sign me up. I'll take a few $1,000s in free play.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. So yeah, Slade back in gambling means more six-pack picks. So definitely looking forward to that. But um, you did cut me off. I wasn't done with Purdue. I have one thing I want to say about Purdue. After watching that game, I'm so unimpressed with Purdue that I'm officially writing them off as they have no chance of winning the title. If they win the national title, I will on a podcast live, you know, the one chip challenge, that really hot chip, I will do it like 3/4 the
If they
way through
win
the
the whole
pod.
thing,
If they win the whole thing, I will eat that chip 3/4 the way through the pod in an attempt to finish the pod um
the last
normally
time I
on
heard you
video.
this confident in someone not winning something, it was the 2017 Astros. And technically they were cheating, but they did win.
Yeah, they were cheating, so that's
If
thrown off.
Purdue wins, you don't do the chip challenge for at least a couple months. We got to wait and see if they were doing some dirty stuff.
Yeah, it turns out Edie's like 34 years old, so you write that off.
They have their own Spygate.
Yeah, so I'm officially out on Purdue. Put that on the record. I will do the one chip challenge. So, um, yeah, other games. Tennessee, I think, is looking really, really good. They're kind of peaking at the right time. Just looking at Ken Palm here. Standings go Houston, Connecticut, Purdue, Arizona, Tennessee. I think obviously everyone Purdue there can win a title, and then it's kind of drops down a bit to Auburn, Duke, North Carolina, Creighton, and then a bigger drop off to Bama, Iowa State, Illinois, Baylor. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's still pretty top heavy, but I really would love someone a little bit further down the board to at least make a Final Four or Sweet 16 run. So
But not Iowa
uh,
State.
not Iowa State, no. So just the way I'm going to be betting though is I don't think I'm going to be taking any outrights. I will probably be betting some to make the Sweet 16, to make the Final Four, Elite Eight, whatever those markets are. I think those are a little bit more attainable. But just real quick to harken back to my appearance on the 3 Points pod, we have decided that we are going to on I guess what is it? Is it next Sunday already or 2 Sundays from now?
Next
I think it'd
Sunday.
be next Sunday. So next Sunday is March Madness Selection Sunday. We will be doing a show with the 3 Points pod. So myself, Slade, Brady Ellingson, Charlie Rose, and Nicholas Bear, all five of us on one pod, and we're just going to release it on both streams. So there will be plenty of plays, plenty of analysis, and it'll be a really good primer. And hopefully you can listen to it right on Sunday night or Monday morning so you can get some insight before you fill out your brackets.
And all of our listeners can get a little taste of Brady Ellingson and what we have to deal with. So um, you'll
We,
understand after this episode why
yeah,
we talk about him the way we do.
we love you, Brady. We need you on the pod. You keep rejecting us, but
We get you
you'll
to
be on
dad,
next
but come
Sunday.
on.
Yeah. Any other college basketball points before we move on?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. 1 week to go. 1 week to go.
Caitlin Clark broke she now is like the all-time leading scorer. So I guess she passed Pete Maravich or something like that. So
Yeah.
Iowa women beat number 2 Ohio State at home. It was a good crowd, good game, senior day. Pretty much like the Caitlin Clark story the last 2 years. It's been pretty cool to see. And now I think they start their tournament, Big Ten tournament this week. So we'll see
Yeah.
how the women's shakes out, but it still seems like it's South Carolina versus the field, and I think Iowa's like number 2 or 3 best odds to win it all.
Yeah, so FanDuel has that posted. South Carolina women minus 130, the field even money. And then looking at the outrights, South Carolina minus 130, LSU plus 600, Iowa plus 700, and then a big drop off. Ohio State and Stanford 15-1.
For the women's tournament, I don't remember this, but I feel like it's like this. Like the first 2 games of the tournament are at the 1 seeds place or something like that.
Yeah, just whoever's the better seeded team gets
Okay. So
well,
okay. So I know Iowa still has another home game.
they would have 2. So whoever's in the pod of 4, there's both those games, and then the
Oh,
next
okay.
game is at the same place. Yeah. Yep.
So
So
assuming they
Iowa,
win
yeah.
the first one, yes, they'll have 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. If Caitlin Clark goes down to a 16 seed, does that ruin her legacy?
Yes.
I
Unless
think so
some
too.
crazy stuff happens where like her teammates shoot like 10%.
Okay,
It's definitely a ding.
here's a better question before we move on to NFL. If Caitlin Clark started, if we swap point guards, Caitlin Clark on the 16 seed versus the 16 seed point guard on Iowa, who wins the game?
Probably the 16 seed.
I would put them as a favorite. Yeah.
Because without Caitlin Clark, and I don't know if Molly Davis will be healthy for that. I mean, it would be like Hannah Stolke and Kate Martin versus Caitlin Clark. And that 16 seed, I guess it depends how bad they are. But I'd probably
Yeah.
take them.
Yeah, I would too. Okay. Anyway, on to a more serious topic. NFL draft is coming up. So what we wanted to do here was we want to do a little exercise with kind of post combine thoughts, and then so we're gonna do a top 12 mock draft. We'll be alternating picks. Slate will have all the odds. I'll have all the evens. A couple of ground rules. Trades are allowed. And essentially just don't spend too much time with your analysis. We don't want to spend 20 minutes on this. Just a quick 5-10 minute thing where we're rolling through these picks, and then we can kind of talk about why we made the pick, and how that aligns with how we see free agency upcoming, because free agency, the legal tampering period, begins on Monday the 11th. So we will be seeing some deals and some agreements on Monday. And then I guess the pen won't go to paper until Wednesday the 13th. Yeah. So without further ado, Slade, the
I'm on the
Chicago
clock.
Bears are on the clock.
Unless this is the biggest smoke screen, the best smoke screen we've ever seen, Caleb Williams is a Chicago Bear at 1, and I'm locking it in. He's winning us multiple Super Bowls. He is the face of Chicago starting in late April. You will be with me when that pick happens. I will be buying his jersey that night on NFL Shop, just like I did with Fields. I'm not getting rid of my Fields jersey. I'm keeping it. I'll frame them both. I don't care. Caleb Williams jersey. Was it April
You're
29th? It's happening.
you're
I'll pay
you're
$150 for it. I don't care.
your comment right there is legitimately why the Bears have to get rid of Fields, because Fields is so beloved. If Williams struggles and they go 0 for 4 at the gate, you know how many fans would be like, "We want Fields back. Like, he's a bust."
I'm
Like,
worried
you
about
just
that. I
yeah,
am
you
I am a
can't
little
have
worried
that.
about how much Bears Twitter, and I know most of it is Twitter, is like a little like still holding on to Fields over Williams. And I'm like, guys, we got to move on. I like Justin too. He's a great guy. I think he's still a decent quarterback. You got to move on. And I don't want to hear anybody shitting on Caleb if things don't start out amazing.
Yeah, it takes time. He's human like all of us, but what's most important is you're resetting that the QB clock for when you have to pay him. You do not want to pay Fields, even if he ends up being a little bit better than Williams, which obviously I don't think a lot of people think is going to happen. But even if that is the case, you want Williams with that low cap hit.
Yeah. So I feel like Williams will be graded on a curve by fans. They're going to be like if Fields did something and it wasn't great, they'd make some excuses for him. But if it's Williams, they're not going to give him that flack because he's the guy who came in and like dethroned their favorite guy. I get it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyways, that's pick one, Caleb Williams.
All right. Next on the clock, Washington Commanders. Obviously, they want to go quarterback here. They have a new owner. He wants to turn the program around, and it starts with the QB. And I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels here of LSU. So he's kind of been trending up, especially if you look at the gambling odds. He was the favorite to go 3, kind of right when the odds got posted. But as the days go on, I think he's now like minus 105. I can double check that here. Minus 105 to go. Number 2. Let's see. Number 2 overall. Excuse me. I am completely wrong on that. Drake May is minus 140 and Jaden Daniels is plus 120 to go 2. I did not think that was the case. That is on FanDuel. We could have some differing opinions on DraftKings though. But anyway, that's a good plus money bet for me is Jaden
Yes,
Daniels to
I
go
agree.
2.
I
Um,
maybe we lock that in as a 6-pack pick. I think Jaden Daniels is going to, unless
okay.
there's some team. I mean, I know it's not going to be like every team has the same rankings. It sounds like most teams have Williams one, but I do think that Jaden Daniels has the ceiling that teams can dream on. That I think if someone's going to trade up to 2, which I don't think the Commanders will trade it, but if someone were, I think it would be for Daniels. I think Daniels just makes a lot of sense. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Let's put it in the 6-pack. So we are officially putting
let's shop
um
for some odds, but if we can get it at plus money, I'm still fine with it.
yeah, the best price out there is FanDuel, Jaden Daniels plus 120 to go number 2. So we will be putting that in the 6-pack.
Boom.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, pick 2. You are on the clock with the New England Patriots.
That I was gonna take at 3 whoever you didn't take at 2. So I'm taking Drake May. He kind of feels a little New Englandy. He's got the prototypical Northeast quarterback body. Um, he's a local here in Charlotte. Grew up like 5 minutes from where I'm at right now. I think him going to New England, there's a lot of Pats fans here. I think it'd be kind of cool. I just think that he's the clear QB3, clear QB at this pick. I mean, if he's not going 2, he's going 3. So process of
Yeah.
elimination.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It'll be interesting to see if the Patriots, if they really like Daniels and don't like May, that's when they could move out or vice versa. So I think this is when we can start seeing some trades because the Patriots need a lot more than a quarterback, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously getting one of these cornerstone guys does help. So, yeah,
They're lucky it's a 3 QB draft instead of a 2 QB draft like we thought coming into the college football season.
yeah, no, 100%. Okay, Arizona Cardinals on the clock for the 4th pick, and I'll just keep it simple here. I'm going Marvin Harrison Jr. He's a big favorite, best player available, first non QB drafted. He's like minus 800 to win that bet. Obviously, I wouldn't bet that because crazier things have happened. Someone, they could, take a defensive end. I know there's what's his name, like Dallas Turner
Mm-hmm.
for Bama. He's kind
Yep.
of been trending up the boards. But with a talent like Harrison Jr., I just can't see them wanting to skip past that. So I'm taking Marvin Harrison Jr. with the 4th.
Cool. So I feel like the draft kind of starts at 5. I feel like I mean, I know we are going a little off the beaten path with at pick 2 than maybe what the Vegas thinks, but I think the top 4 are kind of a consensus top 4 from what I've seen at least. Those are the top 4.
Yeah.
So the draft kind of starts at 5 with the Chargers. I contemplated a trade with this pick. I think there's a lot of options on the table. There's some talk of Mike Williams being released, their wide receiver. So I thought maybe I'll go with a wide receiver. I think the most fun scenario, and I'm putting fun in like in air quotes because I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be for Harbaugh to trade Herbert and take McCarthy, or maybe trade back, take McCarthy. But again, I'm not, I'm not going to go there. I think it comes down to does Harbaugh want to kind of build what he built at Michigan with the offensive linemen, and I think that's kind of what he wants to do. So I'm going with Joe Alt at 5.
Okay, tackle from Notre Dame. I've seen some mocks that have Brock Bowers here, and I think Brock Bowers is incredible. I think his game will translate to the NFL, but I really do not see that happening. I think that we've seen Kyle Pitts go early. We've seen a couple tight ends go really early, and it hasn't necessarily panned out the way you wanted it to. But taking a rock solid tackle like that, I think is the right move. Okay, 6. New York Giants on the clock. This is kind of where things I think get a little crazy. And Slade, you're not gonna like this pick, but I'm taking
I know.
Rome Odunze,
I knew.
Washington wide receiver. So I think if you're a Bears fan listening to this, I think you're gonna have to trade up if you want him. We'll see if Malik Neighbors from LSU makes it to 9. We still have 2 picks to go, but I'm taking Rome Odunze. I think you just need that playmaker. They have Daniel Jones under contract. I can't see them drafting, a quarterback. I think they're going to do one more year with him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
My only
So
question is, you would take Odunze over Neighbors?
I would, yeah. Neighbors is more of a slot wide receiver where I feel like Odunze can do it all. But as long as you utilize Neighbors in the slot, then yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. Um, I wanted Doomsday to the Bears at 9. I don't expect that to happen. I did see a mock today that I think it was CBS that had the Bears trading up to 3 with New England and taking Marvin Harrison. I
That'd
don't
be
know who
sick.
I don't know if Justin Fields is in that trade or if future picks are in that trade, but yeah, that would be incredible. But I don't know. I like Roma Dunze a lot. He does kind of bring a different element. I feel like he's got that dog in him. But so that brings us to number 7. This is the Titans. I think this is the pick I've struggled with the most. I don't have a good read on them because like they did take Will Levis last year. I don't know if anyone actually views him as like the guy or the franchise quarterback. Um, with what we just did, Neighbors is still on the board. I think that's very enticing.
So
Um,
yeah, I wanted to touch on that real quick. So Brian Callahan, their head coach, was the OC for the Bengals, and they went the Jamar Chase route early.
mhm.
Tailoring that offense. So I do think wide receiver could be in play here. So that's a good point.
So that's why I assumed you would have Neighbors the pick before. So in my notes, I had it was like if Neighbors is gone, but yes, I'm going to take Neighbors at 7 to the Titans. I was really close to my backup plan was Olu Fashanu, the
Yeah,
offensive tackle from Penn
Penn State.
State, because I thought
Okay.
they might want to replace Taylor Lewin at because I don't think they've really done that yet. But um, yeah, I agree. I think they're kind of in a position to go best player available.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. I think it's definitely realistic, and we have some wide receivers going early here. If you're looking on FanDuel or DraftKings to bet these, I think you can get some pretty decent numbers. They only have the top 5 picks listed here, or like who's going to be selected in the top 5. So as more draft markets begin, make sure you're shopping around, begin to be posted. Make sure you shop around and look for these numbers because you can probably get some juicy numbers at 6 and 7. Um, okay. Continuing on 8. So Falcons are in a very peculiar situation. They have a lot of weapons. They don't have a quarterback. Um, and they have a new head coach. And I just think they want to shake things up. So I'm going to do a little trade here. I have the Minnesota Vikings trading up, which is funny because, and we can kind of talk about this for a second. I think the Falcons are going to go hard after Kirk Cousins next week in free agency. I ultimately think they're going to land Kirk Cousins. I tried to place a bet on them to take Kirk Cousins, to get Kirk Cousins, and I didn't get it in time. The price shifted too much. So I can see the Vikings trading 11 and I don't know, maybe a couple second round picks. It probably wouldn't take that much to move up to 8. But I can see the Vikings going up to 8. And obviously, who they're picking. They're taking their QB of the
Yep,
future, JJ McCarthy out of Michigan.
I like it. I agree because it seems like the writing on the wall, and I know we're going to get to free agency, but it seems like the writing's on the wall for Kirk to not be back in Minnesota. Um, and the Bears probably won't trade Fields in the division. I don't know if why you would go after Russ. They don't have a ton of options. I think getting a quarterback is probably their best route, and it just seems like it's the top 3 QBs, and then it's JJ McCarthy. And I'm sure we'll get into this closer to draft time, but I think it's like we feel pretty good about the top 3. Obviously, I like Williams the most, but out of the top 3, and then but the thing about JJ is he's the biggest question mark of the draft, which is weird.
Yeah.
So we've maybe seen him play the most football with his playoff runs and stuff, but there's like the question of kind of like the chicken and the egg are his stats not great, or we haven't seen him be this stud because he wasn't asked to, or because he didn't have to. So we don't know. Like if he was put in a different system, maybe he could have put up crazy numbers and looked like Jaden Daniels. But his team won a national title, so
I think a lot of people like McCarthy because they think he has the highest floor. Whereas a lot
he's
of
the
these other
youngest
guys,
player.
yeah. Whereas these other guys like Williams, Daniels, their upside is like I think pretty much unlimited. Mays can be really good, and I think McCarthy is not. I don't think he could be the greatest QB of all time, for lack of a better comparison. But I think he can slot into be a top 5-7 QB. I think that's pretty realistic.
Yeah, I don't
If
see
he
why he
hits.
couldn't
So
be a Jared Goff with a little more athleticism or something.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I would be comfortable taking him. Just not in the top 5 picks, but at 8 seems pretty good.
So we have 3 QBs off the board, 3 wide receivers, an O lineman, and then we got the Bears for their second pick on the clock for pick
Yeah,
9.
so Odunze was my lean. I thought Alt would be nice for them, but I know those guys probably aren't going to be there. So I really saw like 3 options. It's Dallas Turner, that defensive edge from Alabama, Olu Fashano, if they wanted to go with offensive line. Um, but I also think there is the possibility they trade back. Um, but with the board how it is, I don't think the Bears would pass on Dallas Turner. They do need an
Okay.
edge rusher. Obviously, I think once you get into this range of the draft, some of it depends on what you do in free agency. Like if the Bears go out and sign Calvin Ridley, we probably don't really care about drafting a Brock Bowers or anybody like that. Um, so they can. It's what holes do you have left after free agency? Is kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So that's your official pick,
Dallas
Dallas
Turner
Turner at
9.
9. Okay. Yeah. There's some crazier mock scenarios where I saw that Arizona, if they don't want to take a wide receiver at 4, they could take Dallas Turner, and that would kind of turn the whole draft upside down. But I'd have to imagine that someone would want to at least trade up with Arizona. So that being said, I do think Marvin Harrison going 4 is by far the most likely scenario, but definitely just something fun to think about. All right, 10. New York Jets. They got Rodgers coming back. I think they have to protect him. I'll take Fashanu from Penn State. I think this is kind of a no-brainer. There's no real wide receiver to pick. I don't think they're going to take Bowers. Their defense is pretty solid. So I'll just take the O lineman out of Penn State.
All right.
All right. So yeah, we're just gonna go through 12. So 2 picks left. We got the Falcons here, and then I'll take the Broncos.
So yeah, I was going to ask you because the Falcons did a trade, so I needed to think through that one. So they in this scenario, they're probably with Kirk Cousins.
Yes.
Oof. Um.
And while you're thinking about it, I do want to say, so Mike Evans just re-signed with the Bucks. I've heard from a pretty reliable source that the Falcons were getting ready to back up the Brinks truck to get Cousins and Mike Evans. But Mike Evans opted to stay in Tampa instead for a little bit of a hometown discount. He's still getting paid a lot, but just he likes it in Tampa. He'll take $5 or $6 million less to be there. So
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean,
So on the mock draft website, it
I'm
says
not
their needs are QB, wide receiver, edge, cornerback, and
Yeah, I
DT.
was gonna say I'm not taking Brock Bowers because they still have Kyle Pitts. I think the most highly ranked, if you just went like overall, is that Terry and Arnold. I think he's a corner. That's probably who I'd go with, or maybe what's his name? Um,
Latte Latu, the
yeah,
edge from
Jared
UCLA.
Verse is
Yeah,
probably edge
Florida
number
State.
2. So I'd probably go. I honestly think I'd go with Jared Verse.
Okay, that's who I would have gone with. Yeah, Jared versus Florida State at 11. And then at 12, obviously, the further you get down, the harder it is to predict. We will, just for fun, we'll probably do like a special mock draft YouTube video and have that closer to the draft, maybe a couple of them. But just for this at 12, the Broncos just released Russell Wilson. They just cut Justin Simmons, their safety. So I think they're kind of seeing the writing on the wall that like they are not ready to win. Their division is way too tough. It's time to reset. Let's get some young talent in here. I think this is a very good opportunity for them to trade down, especially if McCarthy is still on the board, so they can get a couple picks here. So yeah, but with 12, I mean, I don't know. They just have so many needs. I can't see them picking a quarterback here. We have Bo Nix and Penix available. I don't think either of them go in the
Mm-mm.
first round or in the first round. I think they go more in the second and third. Um, so yeah, I'll just take kind of best player available, and I'll go Terrion Arnold, cornerback. So best defensive
I
player
could see
there.
them wanting JJ McCarthy, but
I could see that. I could see
yeah,
that too.
obviously in this hypothetical, he's already been drafted, so they would have to trade up in this scenario. But if he did
Yeah.
fall to 12, or if maybe they have a better offer, they could. Um, that's a big risk, though. When you're a team that just put all this investment into Russell Wilson, and now you're going to trade future picks for the QB4. Um, I don't, I don't know. You got to trust Sean Payton, I guess, whatever he wants.
If Sean Payton wins a Super Bowl for the Broncos, he'll be the first head coach to win a Super Bowl with two different franchises. So that would get him in the Hall of Fame. That being said, I don't think that's going to happen, but obviously that's the goal. So yeah, so just to recap this one more time, nothing too crazy. We swapped a couple people, but Caleb Williams 1 to the Bears, Jaden Daniels 2 to the Commanders, Patriots Drake May, Cardinals Marvin Harrison Jr., Chargers Joe Alt, Giants Roma Dunze, Titans Malik Neighbors, Vikings JJ McCarthy, Bears Dallas Turner, Jets Fashanu from Penn State, 11 Falcons Jared Verse, and 12 Terrion Arnold to the Broncos. So I just took a screenshot of this. We'll be tweeting this out tonight when we release the pod. But yeah, I thought this was just a good exercise, kind of talking post combine, what we saw. And I wanted to get your thoughts though, sticking with the combine on Xavier Worthy. So he just had a 4.2240. He's 165 pounds. Obviously, guys his size don't necessarily translate well, but I think with the right fit, he can play well. I know some people. This is an easy, I guess, mock selection to make is, the Chiefs will take him at 32. Do you think that's actually a realistic scenario?
Yes, I
Yes,
think
and
so.
I can see the smile on your face.
Yes, I think they need a burner. They're losing MVS. They've got, I like Rice, but he's a yak guy. Kelsey's Kelsey. I was listening to some Todd McShay, and he said that he's heard some buzz that the Chiefs are not really keeping it a secret that they like him. So unless they're like they're using it as a smoke screen type thing, they're telling people they like him. So I don't really see him going ahead of where the Chiefs pick. I mean, he's not talked about as like a. I mean, we already got what 3 guys in the top 10, and I still don't think he's wide receiver 4. So he's probably in the wide receiver 6 range.
Yeah, yeah. There's another LSU guy, and
Brian Thomas or something like that, and then there's Keon Coleman maybe.
yeah, Brian Thomas, Keon Coleman. There's also Xavier Worthy's teammate Adonai Mitchell,
Yep.
who shout out him. We bet on him to score in the 6-pack for the Texas Bama game. There's also Lad McConkey, who is a great player out of Georgia. He put up some good numbers at the combine too. So really, there's like 7 or 8, I think, playmakers right away, and a few guys down the board. I like Ricky Purcell out of Florida. I think he tested really well at the combine. Yeah, so it'll just be interesting. But a lot of this, like, there's just so many good players and so many not good players. But like, whatever system they go to just means so much. So Puka Nakua, if he doesn't go to the Rams, is he as good? Probably not. But I think they're really good at maximizing his talent. So yeah, that matters.
Lad McConkey or whatever is going to be. He's either going to turn out to be a nothing or he's going to be just that pain in the ass like
He's gonna be
Edelman
Cooper
for
Cup.
Cooper
Yeah,
Cup like, and he's going to be
yeah,
like really good. I can't decide yet, but with a name
yeah,
like that, I kind of rooting for him.
yeah. So yeah, all right. We spent quite a bit of time on that mock. But for anyone we didn't hit in free agency, let's just go through some predictions here. Just rapid fire. Who do you think for these quarterbacks? Where are they ultimately going to end up? First spot, first team, Justin Fields. We got. This is not rapid fire. This is too much thinking.
Steelers.
I think Steelers too. Okay. Baker Mayfield, I'm saying sticking in Tampa.
Same.
Kirk Cousins, Falcons,
Yep.
or Vikings?
I think the Vikings have a better chance than some are saying, but I do think he's going to the Falcons.
Russell Wilson. What about the Steelers for him?
They'd be really stupid if they did that, but
I
they
think
can
so too.
almost get him for like league minimum, basically.
I,
So
I think I think he's gonna go to the Raiders. That'd be
that
my
makes sense.
pick.
That makes some sense. I don't, but they've played him twice last year. They should be like, this dude blows. I
I
don't
know,
really
but
know where makes a lot of sense for him. I wouldn't
yeah,
put it this way. I would not take a gamble on him. I would not be interested at almost any team circumstance. I just don't think he's just so corny and fake, and I don't think he's a good leader because of it. I think
no,
guys see through him, and I think
yeah,
he's taken a beating and he's old and he doesn't have
yeah,
like the athleticism anymore.
yeah. I feel the same. Last up, I have Ryan Tannehill on the list. I saw him getting linked to the Texans in a backup role. I think the Texans, regardless, need to get a nice vet for CJ Stroud so he continues learning.
Is Joe Flacco going back to the Browns?
I think so. Yeah, I
Okay.
think.
I was just wondering because I was trying to think of where Jacoby Brissett makes sense, and
I think he could go back to the Patriots.
yeah, he might be a good guy to be there to help Jaden Daniels along, or maybe Drake May, depending on who they get.
Yeah. All right, more rapid fire. Saquon Barkley. I have no idea.
I'm not just saying this. I think the Bears are interested
The Bears. Okay, I've seen
because
Bears. I've seen
Khalil Herbert
Texans.
and Roshan Johnson are not difference makers. They're not bad players. They're just not difference makers. And maybe there's a comeback for running backs. We saw a lot of
Look, if
good ones in the final teams this year.
if you have a quarterback on a rookie deal, you can afford to pay guys like this for 2 or 3
And I
years.
don't think
So
he's going to get anything crazy. He hasn't done what we expected him to do the last few years.
yeah, yep. No, I agree. I think maybe like a 2 or 3 year deal with like 10 million a piece, 11 million.
Yeah.
Couple other running backs here: Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler. I have no idea where these
I
guys
think
are going.
I think Pollard will go back to the Cowboys.
Yeah, Pollard as well. Yeah,
I don't.
I
Josh
could see that.
Jacobs feels like he's someone who might be chasing a bag. I don't know where though.
There are no bags to be had. So
Well, a bigger bag than what he can get in
yeah,
Vegas, maybe.
yeah. Wide receivers, Calvin Ridley. He's available. I believe if they let him walk, or if the Jags re-sign him, that they have to give up their second instead of a third. That's one of the trade implications with the
The
Falcons. So that'll
conditional.
be in,
Yeah.
that'll be interesting. Yeah. Um, no real opinions on Ridley. I did want to make a point on T. Higgins though. So he's under the franchise tag. Um, and you know that Brian Windhorst meme that's like, what do you
Mm-mm.
think, or what is it, or
Yeah.
whatever,
He's like,
whatever.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, whatever
Why
it
would
is.
they
So
do this?
yeah, so this would be, why would they tag T. Higgins right away? You have until the deadline. You can work up until the last second to, figure out an extension, but instead they did it way early. That just tells me that it's like, all right, we're just going to trade him.
Yeah, that
So
tells
I
me
would
they
not be
know he's not
surprised.
on the team in 2025.
Yeah. So I would not be surprised if he gets traded next week. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. And then obviously we touched on this Mike Evans return to Tampa. Other notable free agent moves: Justin Simmons from Denver, the safety, got released, and Michael Thomas, the wide receiver for the Saints, got released. So yeah, couple big names. I hate even to talk about this, but there's rumors the Browns could potentially look into cutting Nick Chubb. They could save like 11 million. I can't imagine they would do that just because the fans love Chubb, and
He looked so good before that injury.
I know. So I would that would
As a
just make me
fantasy
sick.
owner, I'm
But
still distraught.
yeah,
Ruined my season on like week 1.
yeah. All right. Any other sports topics you'd like to talk about before I get into my Oscars plays?
No, but I'm glad we're doing the Oscars because I just finished Oppenheimer yesterday. I was a little late to the
Yeah,
party.
yeah. What are your
Shit was
thoughts?
good. Um, I love Killian, the actor. Uh, I feel like he's just like I have like a man crush on him.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah,
He's definitely a cool guy.
just like he's got a very interesting like personality or like yeah,
His
Killian Murphy.
demeanor, yeah.
Yes,
He just
yes,
has like that
an aura.
confidence. Yeah.
Yeah, Killian
No, I agree.
Murphy.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Peaky Blinders either, the series it's on BBC and Netflix. Yeah, definitely check that out. Yeah, so going into the Oscars here, Oppenheimer is a huge favorite to win Best Picture. It's minus 5,000. I think it's going to clean up like 8 or 9 awards, which is the most we've seen. I think someone brought up like Slumdog Millionaire several, that was a few dozen years ago, I guess, whenever that was. But basically, there's no bet on Best Picture. Just moving through some of the other categories here. Uh, well, I guess let's talk about the Best Picture movies first as we go through it. Have you seen any of the other ones? Have you seen Poor Things, The Holdovers, Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon?
I saw
Any of those?
Barbie. I know Poor Things is Emma Stone, and it's still
Yeah,
crazy to me that she's like the same actress that was doing Super Bad and like what was it like Easy A and like those type of movies. And
yeah,
now Crazy Stupid Love. Now she's doing like very serious roles. So we've seen her mature as an actress. I'm happy for her.
yeah.
She's also a producer. I've seen. Yeah,
She takes on really weird projects and likes to express herself in that way. So yeah, it's definitely a big development in her acting career. So yeah, Oppenheimer will take that there, but kind of with Poor Things as being that second favorite. It's 20-1. It's not going to win, but that's kind of where I want to attack other categories because I think Poor Things still needs to win awards. So um, I guess let me pull up my plays here. My first play is going to be in the makeup category. So I don't know if you know anything about makeup, but it's
Barbie.
best makeup and hairstyling. I'm taking Poor Things. So
Oh,
uh, yeah, I'm taking Poor Things. This is an official 6-pack play. Poor Things plus 125. I think
when
this is
is
a
this?
value
When is
play.
this televised?
It is Sunday the 10th, so it's in 3 days.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
it's this Sunday, yeah. So definitely something to throw on your TV Sunday night as you're wrapping your weekend up. But yeah, so best visuals, makeup, and hairstyling. Maestro with Bradley Cooper is minus 175. That movie just did not get good reviews, and Poor Things did. So I'm going with Poor Things plus 125 there. Um, a couple other plays I have, and once again, official 6-pack play, best animated feature. We're going with Across the Spider Verse. We're laying minus 225. Does that stress you out? Minus 225?
No.
No. It's
Across the Spider Verse sounds like a horrible movie, but I trust you.
these are all value plays. And just because something's at minus 225, like I'm taking this because it should be closer to minus 500 or minus 700. Like the 225 shouldn't necessarily scare you off. If you don't want to bet a full unit, that's fine. To each their own, but we will be betting a full unit on that.
Are we able to parlay these?
No,
I
can't
was
do
gonna say
that.
I would parlay like 5 Oppenheimer things together.
I
I
know,
think
yeah,
out of like the 14 awards, like you said, they're gonna win like at least 8 or 9.
yeah,
Um, what's what's the supporting actor one? I think Robert Downey Jr. is the favorite.
yeah. Best supporting actor, Robert Downey Jr. He's minus 3,500, so he's definitely
Yeah,
um
I was gonna say
gotten
he was
away with
great in
that.
that movie. I thought, but obviously I'm not laying minus 3,500.
Yeah, yep. Next up, best adapted screenplay. We're going with American Fiction minus 250. So again, we're laying a big number. Um, I mean, I could go into this big long spiel here on why I think it's gonna win. But I guess moral of the story is you just got to trust me. You got to trust what I'm hearing. I think it's great value here, and I think this should be closer to minus 500 or minus 750. So
All right,
taking
I'll trust you.
American Fiction
What do you have
250.
anything on the like the song or whatever, the music?
No music, but this is going back to Emma Stone here. So best actress. This is kind of the most heavily bet market, I think, but also the most back and forth. So um, you have not seen Killers of the Flower Moon.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So Lily Gladstone is the leading actress in that movie. And Emma Stone is the leading actress of Poor Things. So Lily Gladstone right now is minus 250. Uh, and Emma Stone is plus 165. So
Let's
I
get
was
Emma
going,
Stone on there.
well, I was going to give out Lily Gladstone minus 175, but now she's gone up way too much. Where I do think there is value on Emma Stone. I think it has been overcorrected a little bit too much. I would give the edge 60-40 to Lily Gladstone. Leading up, if anyone listened to our Joey Isaacs interview, he kind of talked about how there's these like smaller, like the BAFTAs and the SAGs and these smaller award shows overseas that kind of lead up to the Oscars. And basically, those two have been splitting every single Best Actress
Mm.
award going back and forth. So, the one that was last week or 2 weeks ago, Lily Gladstone won, and that kind of vaulted her up to minus 250. So I'm on. I bet this early enough where I'm on Lily Gladstone at plus 150, and I'm on Emma Stone at plus 120. So
That's
I'm
gonna
here
be
to
us on pick 2 for the NFL draft.
exactly, yeah. So double plus money for me. I'm guaranteed to profit. I think it's like $120 on that. So, well, guaranteed unless there's a huge upset, which I don't think happens, but it is possible. So,
I asked
um,
about the
yeah.
song because I wanted to see what are the odds for Barbie to win like best music or whatever. Are they the big favorite?
So audio, best sound, it is Oppenheimer. Um, but that's best sound, best original score. I think what you're looking for is best original song. So what was I
Yes.
made for Barbie's minus 750, and I'm just Ken is plus 450. So they have the two
Okay. I
leaders
was
in the
gonna say they
clubhouse
have
there.
that Billie Eilish song that I think is probably gonna win, but I didn't. I just assumed it was the favorite because I don't think Oppenheimer was necessarily like an original song type of movie.
Yeah, yeah, no original song, but just the sound in general. So yeah, so I guess just to recap that one more time, our official plays here is we're going best makeup and hairstyling, Poor Things, plus 125, best animated, feature, Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse minus 225, and best adapted screenplay minus 250. It sounds like Slade wants to put a little on Emma Stone. I'm not sure if you're officially putting that in the 6 pack or if
I'm
you
not
would
putting in
just
the 6 pack, but
okay.
I'm pulling for her.
That's your pick. You're an Emma Stone guy. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, so this was an episode where, we talked about a lot of topics, but most importantly, let's go back up to the top. we have merch available. Please check it out. It's our Etsy
We're
shop.
going
We
to
will
be
be posting
selling it
that.
live at Keel Huber's wedding in April. So if you want
Yes.
to buy it from us in person, you don't want to pay shipping fees. We're going to have a booth set up. All the
Out of the
stuff's going to be
out of
laid
the
out in the trunk of my car.
I was
Come
gonna
hit
say
us
the
up.
trunk of your car. Yeah, all sizes available. Plenty of t-shirt colors. But yeah, we just appreciate it. There's no, we're not trying to get money or anything. We just want to get our name out there and get a bigger following, and so we can keep putting out this good content for you guys. But we really
Without you guys, there's no us. Without our fans, what are we? We're just two guys
exactly,
and a mic.
exactly. All right. Well, everybody, we appreciate you checking this episode out. Make sure to check out our 6-pack, get your plays in, watch the Oscars Sunday night. And yeah, let's just get ready for some March Madness next week. I'm ready to go. But yeah. All right. This has been another episode of Bet GPT. Thanks.